Hey guys, and welcome to another episode of Fact Fiend Focus.
Now, do you want to do it like you're not presenting like Junkyard Sweep, whatever the fuck it was?
Do you mean supermarkets?
No, was that Junkyard bloody TV show? Do you remember that? Where they had to go into a junkyard and build like a robot? It's like build a trebuchet. Well, it's good job we're talking about PS2 games then, instead of shit TV shows. So you know what, Brad? Continue the theme of you talking as I take a nice big sip and explain to the lovely people at home watching now what the theme of today's Fact Fiend Focus is.
As always, we're going to pick a subject we're going to talk about a little bit more in depth than we normally would. Today is PS2 games we want to see remasters. I think we did this before in a podcast for PS1 games.
No, we did it in actual Focus.
Was it a Focus?
It's a Focus, yes. But yeah, go listen to our podcast. Nice plug. And a lot of people said, "Oh, do it for PS2 games." So it's in similar vein. It's PS2 games that me and Brad enjoyed and played, but we know we'll never get that Crash Bandicoot, that Final Fantasy X, that complete ground-up remaster where everything's just done again, because they either weren't popular enough or just not enough people give a shit. And we're going to start with a game that Brad has picked, which is
The Suffering.
The Suffering. Which one? I played both Suffering games.
Suffering 1.
And what is it about The Suffering that you think makes it, is criteria for a full ground-up remaster?
The gameplay was fine, but I quite enjoyed the story and the way it was set up.
Yes.
For those who haven't played The Suffering, you play as a convicted criminal.
Do you remember his name? It's Torque.
Oh, Torque,
And
yes.
do you remember as well that Torque is supposed to be black? Like in all the pictures of Torque, he is black. His wife and his kid are black. But in the second game, they lightened his skin. It's like, fuck you, video game developers.
Torque, I obviously forgot his name, but Torque was a convicted criminal, and whether or not he committed the crime is based on the ending you get.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's ambiguous. Like he's committed to prison because you killed your wife and kid.
Yeah.
And depending on whether you want to be good or evil, it says like you either didn't, it was an accident, it was a tragic thing that no one could have avoided, or you're just an arsehole and you did kill your wife and kid.
There's 3 endings. I think there's one where someone else did it and you get revenge on them.
Yeah, there's a good ending, a neutral ending, and a bad ending.
The reason I like it is because the way that the villains in the game work, because you're on a prison island.
Yes.
They basically manifest in the way that they were executed.
All manner of executions took place on this island, which has apparently has been executing people for hundreds of years.
Yeah.
And you have they were killed by the guillotine, so they now just have knives for hands, or it's lethal injection, so they have fucking syringes for eyes.
I think there's ones hanging from the ceiling as well.
Yeah, because they were killed by being hanging. There were people who were buried alive, so they're like in sacks and they crawl under the ground like worms. The reason I wanted to do is remaster PS2 games. I've been playing a lot of PS2 games, and one that I played a lot recently is Alien Extinction, which is an RTS based in I think it's Alien versus Predator Extinction. Either way, it's a RTS based in the Alien versus Predator universe, where you can play as aliens, predators, or people. Which means you can play as the aliens or the predators, because you never want to fucking play as the humans.
Play as the humans.
No one plays as humans in those universe. And I just loved, I am a huge fan of the world building around the Alien and Predator universes, and I love all the dumb shit they have revealed in novels and comics and all that bollocks. Like in this game, there says, there's a cast of alien called the Runner, which is an alien that can't attack other than by headbutting at 60 miles an hour. And also you can make it evolve so it explodes when it's hit by fire. So you can have an entire tactic in that game revolving around just sending suicide bomber aliens at people. Or you can get ones that are like the Carriers, which carry facehuggers on their back and throw them at people's faces. But at the same time, the Predators are all immune to facehuggers because they can stab them out of the air. But if you send enough facehuggers at them at once, what I used to do is group all my facehuggers together and tell them all to attack a predator at the same time. And it'd try and fight off all the facehuggers and get a cat by once. That's it, that's my predator now. Done. And it's focused. And then the Predator side, you had all this really cool technology from their universe. And they've got this huge, massive, bibliography of every item, every upgrade, every piece of equipment, and the backstory of how it came about. There is a form of the Predator called the Vanguard Predator, who carries a plasma scythe. It's that's the sickest thing I've ever heard. And he has a black matter generator on his back that any projectile travelling over a certain speed, including facehuggers, gets destroyed instantaneously by this. So you put 2 of them on your back line, and all your predators are now immune to projectiles. It's sick. I know it's stupid the game wasn't that good because the amount of stuff you can do is limited, and there's no free play mode. There is no verse other player mode, which I think is a fucking crime. Because I would love to play just an online RTS as just Aliens versus Predators, or Aliens and Predators versus humans, or just introduce hero units and shit like that. Make it like Halo Wars, where you have 2 sides, or 3 sides in this case, where you have different hero units. Bring in fucking Vasquez as one of the legendary units. Bring in Hicks. Bring in like the Queen alien from all the different movies. Bring in Ripley as a human unit in a fucking power suit punching shit. Bring in Newt as just Newt. And I just want a good Alien game, so that I don't spend this entire video talking about the cool aliens and predators in this game, because I can and I will. Do you have another game from the PS2 era you'd love to see just like remade?
Yeah, there's one I'd love to see remade and expanded upon.
Okay.
Have you ever heard of Ghostmaster, the Gravenville Chronicles?
No. I have never heard of Ghostmaster, the Gravendale Chronicles?
Ville, I think.
Ville, okay.
Right.
Describe this game
to
me.
So this game is, it's like a strategy game. It's very reminiscent of The Sims, the way it works.
Okay.
But you control the ghosts. And the idea is that you summon ghosts to scare humans out of the house.
I think I've played this game. Or is it, maybe I played like Grab by the Ghoulies or a similar game like that. But I recall a game like this.
So obviously you get different types of ghosts that will scare different types of humans in different ways.
I think I've played this game. Because I recall, this is sounding very familiar to me, and that sounds awesome.
I think the first one you get looks very reminiscent of the one from Ghostbusters, like a Slimer. The idea is that you have to pinpoint exactly what that human is scared
It's like
of.
Theme Hospital.
Yeah.
Similar to that way, it's like you have to buy all the shit. Yeah. That sounds awesome. That sounds really fun.
Yeah.
And yeah, I like the idea of like...
I can imagine that being fantastic if you ended up in like... Because I never played all the way through, I don't know how far it goes. But imagine if it was like a giant haunted mansion.
Well, it's a resource management game, isn't it? The limit to gameplay is just how much stuff you can micromanage at the same time. And that sounds really fun, but I don't think it'd be a remaster. I think that sounds like it'd be an indie game. But that is a really, really strong pull, and I'm thinking I'm gonna have to top it with any of the PS2 era Bloody Raw games.
Ooh.
Because fighting games, they're back, baby. We've got Dragon Ball FighterZ. We've got like, you know, Mortal Kombat 11. There's probably going Injustice 3 coming out soon. There's like Tekken 7 still going strong. Bring back Bloody fucking Raw, because that game is awesome. And do you know why it's awesome, Brad?
Why is it awesome?
Stun the insect. Because the whole point of that, the story of that game is, I think it's zoanthropes is the name of the people who can turn into animals. It's like, oh, there are zoanthropes in our universe who can turn from human to powerful animal forms. Then you have Stun the Insect, who is already half transformed all the time because experiments were conducted upon him. And he's the coolest character because he's just a big fucking stag beetle who has this big punch where he punches you through the fucking wall. Because that's a game you can win on the first turn if you do the right moves. You can punch people out of bounds. And there are levels where you have like cars in the background and you can punch people into cars, you can punch them off mountains. And I just want a game, a fighting game, where the bullshit comes back. I want a fighting game where you can have ring outs again, because ring outs aren't really a thing anymore because they want to make them super competitive. No, it's skill. And I say the most skillful thing in the world is pushing your opponent off a ledge, because that shit's hilarious. I want to bring it back and just bring in more animals. I want to see the most HD 4K fuzz texture on a fucking cat creature or a tiger man. I want to see that. I want to see the reflect technology they've put on stun the insects like armor plating. It'd be fucking sick, but it's a dream, and the dream dies today because they're never making another fucking Bloody Raw game. The thing is that it's obscure, but every time I mention Bloody Raw, do you know what the prevailing reaction is? Fuck yeah, Bloody Raw, why don't they make another one? So make a fucking another Bloody Raw.
Yeah, people who apparently own Bloody Raw who watch our videos.
Yeah.
Make one. Do it, we'll buy it.
I'll buy it.
We'll plug it.
I'll plug
Play it.
Sponsor the stream. Sponsor us. I'll do it. I'll plug the shit out of Bloody Raw. Anyway, have you got another game you think PS2 remaster, baby?
I'm thinking one of the ones that multiple people can like, because local gaming's dying a bit. It's all online.
Yeah, it's not great.
Yeah, but I mean things like you mentioned Burnout earlier when we were talking about this idea.
You can't play the Burnout card and not warm me, man. You know how much I love Burnout. Burnout's the fucking best. Burnout is a franchise that deserves to exist today, and it doesn't. And do you know why that is?
Why?
Because car sims are what, like, you know, make the most money. And do you know why that is? Because when you make a car sim, guess who pays you money?
It's the brands, isn't it?
Car manufacturers will pay you to put that. Most of the time you've got to pay them, but some of them will pay you to say, oh, put our car on the front cover, make it the centre of all your marketing. And that's fine, I understand why it exists, but do you know why it's annoying?
I'm assuming people don't want to see their cars blowing up.
Exactly, yes, because car manufacturers generally don't want footage of their car flying into a crowd and exploding at twice the speed of sound on YouTube in 4K. So what they do is they tell game manufacturers like Forza and Gran Turismo, never show our cars getting damaged. It's even worse in more specific games like Formula 1. Because in Formula 1, some of the later games, they are told not to let your wing mirrors get damaged. Do you know why? Because wing mirrors have the advertising on them.
Oh, for God's sake.
So the company who owns the rights to the things, they don't have the model have the wing mirrors get damaged, so we can put the adverts on there, so the player is constantly looking at the adverts in the replay. I don't want to generalise, but I'm going to say the vast majority of video game players, or people who like playing video games casually, want to crash cars because it's fun, it's visceral, and it's easy to do. Driving around Brands Hatch and trying to beat your time trial is a very specific thing that I'm going to guess 90% of video game players do not give a shit about. Just give us a game where we can crash that car as hard as we want.
And think how good it'll look with modern.
Exactly, that's why it pisses me off. I know there is supposed like a spiritual successor to Burnout made by some people who work for me. No, I want real fucking Burnout. And I want to put, because in the Burnout games, you didn't just have cars, Brad. Do you remember? You used to get dump trucks, school buses, fire engines. I think there's one where you get a monster truck. Do you know what pissed me off though? Because there are Xbox 360 versions of Burnout. I think Burnout Paradise, which I downloaded because it was free on Xbox for like the month. And do you know what got me? I installed it. I sat there with my friends who I've played Burnout with for years. We sat down, comes up, multiplayer, or only online multiplayer. Can we not go into crash mode and take it in turns? Oh, you can. Apparently there's past the control of crash mode. Oh, that sounds fun. Oh, it's paid DLC.
Oh my God.
Oh yeah, I forgot EA owns this game. Great. So I uninstalled that.
Fuck EA.
Yeah, so I uninstalled it and put in Burnout 3 The Takedown. We played that instead and had a fucking riot. Forza recently, E3, recently for us now recording this, I'm not sure it's going to go up, but they said we're going to have Lego DLC where you drive around in Lego cars, but the Lego cars can't get damaged.
Oh, they can't explode into little pieces.
No, even though you think that would be the thing, because the Lego cars are still based on car designs.
Fuck
And
off.
the car manufacturers don't want their Lego cars. It's like, oh, you had it. You were this far away from getting the perfect racing game.
We're straight from the line here of this turning it not into a PS2 remaster video, but getting pissed off at the game industry video.
Stop not making fun games. Arcade racers need to come back. Arcade beat 'em ups need to come back. And I'm going to use that to jump off. Bring back fucking Def Jam Fight for New York. Because they tried to make Def Jam Icon and it sucked the most amount of shit that has ever been sucked by a video game. Fuck that game. That series ended at Def Jam Fight for New York because not only is that game awesome, because it's a fighting game based on the Aki engine, which they used for a lot of those early PS2 wrestling games, like SmackDown vs. Raw and SmackDown Taste the Pain, which I'm guessing a lot of people remember as being like really fun because they're fluid and arcadey and fast. And you don't have that thing of in modern wrestling games where you get knocked down and you've got to mash the stick for 40 seconds till your guy gets back up. Def Jam Fight for New York, I contend, is one of the most just mechanically in-depth fighters I have ever fucking played. The story is you play as rappers beating each other up. And you have a creator character where you make a creator rapper who beats up other rappers. And obviously I always make Ali G and just fucking wreck everyone as Ali G. And you have 5 fighting styles. I think martial arts, kickboxing, street fighting, wrestling and submissions. And you can get up to 3 of those styles and combine them any way you want in any order. And every different permutation of those gives you a different fighting style. So like 30 different fighting styles for your creator fighter. Everything about it just feels good and all the moves look amazing. Like if you play a martial artist, you have a move where you throw someone into a wall and they bounce back, you get them under your arm in a headlock, you run at the wall, do a full backflip, put your feet into the back of their head and drop kick them so they go face first into the wall. There is a shit ton of environmental stuff, like say for example you're a street fighter and you've got someone in a grapple and you're near a wall and they're on low health. You can, by pressing in the direction towards the wall and throw, you will throw them into the wall and do a 3-hit wall combo which KOs. Only that fighting style can do that. Once you understand how the game works, it stops being this dumb rapper fighting game and it becomes so fucking hype because there are counters, there are throw counters, there is style counter picks. And you know what we got instead? Just a generic game based on, I think, like the Fight Night boxing engine. It's like, And that's, you know what? I'd rather play that than one where I can make Snoop Dogg backflip kick people out of a 4th story window. Not.